Good day, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am in the beautiful South Okanagan of British Columbia. It's about 7:30 in the morning, about 23 degrees Celsius. It's going to be up to 35 today. Just a beautiful, beautiful day. Today, I'm going to speak a little more about diet and the foods that I strongly recommend you avoid, the foods that I recommend, and at the end I'll give you a quick idea of what I would eat in a typical day and how it's worked for me. So any kind of a diet that I speak of always seems to be an elimination diet. What do we want to eliminate? We definitely want to eliminate ultra-processed foods. What's an ultra-processed food? It's simply foods that are manufactured. There's ingredients in there that we don't even know what the heck they are, and they're mass-produced. They're produced to be cost-effective, stable on the shelf, addictive. That's the key. They're very, very addictive. They're harmful to our health. They're made to make a profit. If I want to go in the weeds a little bit, they're kind of made so that we need medication to counteract them. But that's a little more political, and I don't need to go into that too deeply. So what am I speaking about when I say ultra-processed foods? So I'll just give you a few common ones. Examples of ultra-processed foods would be pop or soda, chips, cookies, cakes, chocolate bars, ice cream, all the good stuff that we like, right? We grew up with that. Sugary cereals, I've mentioned before, Cap'n Crunch, that was my go-to food every morning. Not just as a kid, but even in my 30s and 40s. Cap'n Crunch. Sometimes I'd even put chocolate milk on it. Drove my mother nuts, but that's what I would do. So those are definitely foods that I believe that should be avoided. How do we stop having those? Because let's face it, they are addictive. They're very addictive. And it's just a case of maybe slowly taking them out of your diet. So one I didn't mention was grains, bread, pasta, that type of thing. The reason for these is all these foods are built on high carbohydrates. I believe we should not be eating high carbs. In fact, I think carbs aren't essential at all, especially for somebody that's on a regular ketogenic diet. So I try to get my carbs under 20 grams per day, but I didn't start there. So how did I get keto in the first place? Was 7 years ago, my wife ate keto. So she ate primarily vegetables, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of nuts, and then a ton of fish and meat. I was eating pizza, pasta, cakes, cookies. I didn't change until I saw the results that came from her. And to keep a peaceful household, it's much easier to cook dinner if we were eating under the same idea. So I decided to give it a try. I thought, I'll give it 30, 60 days, what the heck. So as an investigator, that's what I am professionally. I'm 64, I'm still working. I wanted to dive into the research, the case studies. I wanted to see if this was actually really good for you. That included really focusing on blood labs. We went as far as driving down to the States to receive a calcium score, a CAC score, which by the way, mine came 0. My wife's was very, very low, very happy with that. So there was no calcified plaque around our heart arteries. So I wanted to kind of start and see where I was like that, in what health range. So the first thing I did was I cut out cakes, cookies, pasta, pizza, and that was tough, really tough. I also cut out sugary drinks, fruit juices, pop. So what did I replace all these things with? Grains, bread, I cut out. What did I replace them with? I started to eat a little more meat, even though I was a big meat eater, and I was choosy about the vegetables. I would very much reduce the amount of fruit and have a little bit of berries. And that was sort of it. I was never a leafy green kind of guy. I never got into kale or spinach. So that wasn't an issue. So I stopped eating potatoes, corn. So my diet would pretty much look like focused on meat, some broccoli, bell peppers, asparagus, cauliflower. I would make soups without additives. I would make stew without flour. I learned some keto recipes, and they were really good. And then I noticed something about myself, and I started to lose weight. I was 210 pounds. I'm 6'1". I carried it well, I believe, but I did go to, I did start to lose some weight. And I went from 210 over the course of the 7 years to about 180. Again, I'm 6'1". I think that's a really good weight for me. I didn't mean to do that, or I didn't care if I was losing that little bit of weight, but I just didn't realize how good I would feel without it. What else did it do for me? I definitely had more energy, more or less brain fog. I just felt better. I had to stop taking as many Tums. I stopped taking antacids, which I took regularly. I would take Tylenol sinus cold. I would get sinus problems all the time. And when I was on my diet, I realized that got a lot better. So it's definitely better not to take Tylenol. I was never on a regular prescription, and I'm still not. So that didn't change for me. But what I did notice was the Tums and the acetaminophen and that type of thing. So we did that for a while, and then we were watching a fellow named Dr. Ken Berry. I'm sure a lot of people in this space might have heard of him. He's got a great YouTube channel. And actually, there's about 6 or 7 doctors that we do listen to, or we do watch their videos, and we really value that information. We watch YouTube for an hour every morning. That's our thing, from 5 a.m. till 6 a.m. before we go to work. It's an investment in our health. And about 97% of all the stuff we watch, we just toss out. But there's about 3% we keep. And I have a list, like I said, of about 6 or 7 channels that we watch. And I'm going to name them shortly, but I'm also going to put them in the comments just in case you want to look up their channels. So I was feeling so good, and I was watching this Dr. Berry channel, and he suggested doing a carnivore challenge. And I thought, well, okay, I can give that a try. Did the research, found out that meat, especially fatty red meat, contains all the nutrients that we really, really need. Do we supplement? I supplement because I don't like fish. I will have salmon if I'm forced to, but so I do supplement with omega-3. You can see by the sun here and where I live, it's beautiful. I get all my vitamin D, but in the wintertime it's typically cloudy, so in the wintertime I will supplement with vitamin D. And that's all I take, pretty much. A little bit of magnesium too, because I've really learned the benefits of magnesium. Well, maybe I'll talk about supplements in a later video. So we decided to try a carnivore challenge, which meant that we just ate animal products. I didn't give up dairy, and I didn't give up cheese, dairy. I didn't give up coffee, and I didn't give up the occasional glass of wine. I kept that in there because, hey, we made it this far. We deserve to have a little bit of fun. So zero sugars, zero grains. At this point, it was zero vegetables, zero fruit. And we did that for a year and a half or so. And man, did it ever make me feel so much better. And I didn't miss things. People look at it like it's a very restrictive diet, but I did not miss even the vegetables. I didn't miss those at all. And I got to a point where I had great gut health. I had motivation to do more exercise. I had motivation to reduce, or it did naturally reduce my stress. It certainly affects your brain health as well. And I slept better. So those are the 4 pillars that I strive for: diet, sleep, stress management, and exercise. So my diet helped with all 4 of those. In the last year or so, once every 2 weeks, we will introduce some vegetables, just because we like them. And I bake a dish with carrots, bell peppers, and asparagus. We'll have that once or twice a month. If we go out, which is very rare, because since COVID, you almost have to sell your kidney to afford a restaurant. When we do go out, we're going to have chicken wings. I'm sure they're cooked in seed oils. Well, that's something else you need to eliminate, is seed oil. Stick with your olive oil or avocado oil. So when we go out, yeah, a little bit of cheating, but primarily I stick to that. So Dr. Berry, I believe it was his wife, coined the phrase ketovore. So it's a very high keto diet with a ton of meat. And I can honestly say that I do keep my carbs to under 20 grams every day. I mentioned I have red wine, and in another video I'm going to get into the alcohol part of that. I think that alone can make a really good video. So The doctors that we do follow on YouTube, or the channels, Dr. Ken Berry, and I'll post these in the comments so you can get the spelling. Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Tony Hampton, Dr. Anthony Chafee, and there's a few other channels. Kerry's Homestead Show. He's making a great video about diets and how they help people. One I really like. He's a funny guy. He's out of, I believe, South Africa, but anyway, it's called Kent, Kent Carnivore. Really worth checking out that channel. It's a psychologist or psychiatrist, Dr. Georgia Ede. We have her book, actually. It's a really good book, and I'll post that in the comments as well, because it's not, the name of it's not coming to me. Something about change your diet, change your mind. That might be what it is, actually. She's got a good channel, and she deals with brain health, and she was a psychiatrist at, I believe it was Harvard, where she would counsel young women, and she introduces and she uses a ketogenic diet, and she can get a lot of people off medication or wean it down. That's another good thing that this diet does, is that if you are on medication for type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, going on a diet like this, don't go off any medication. Certainly consult your doctor, of course, but you can get off your medications, or you can certainly reduce it or work with your medications to get them down. You can reverse type 2 diabetes using a ketogenic diet, or you can certainly reduce the amount of insulin you have to take for it, medication, metformin and such that you have to take for it. So those are all things to look into and do your own research on that. So in a typical day, I wake up in the morning, I will have butter in my coffee, I'll blend it, and that's what I have in the morning. I'm not hungry until afternoon. My wife goes right till dinner, so it's called OMAD. She eats one meal a day. I have to have two. But something, when you eat a low carb diet, you're definitely not as hungry as you used to be, and you don't have to continuously eat. You don't have blood sugar crashes. You don't have insulin spikes. So those are the type of things. So for my main meal, I will have good old rib steak. Strip loin's actually my favorite, but ribeye has a little more fat in it, so it's better. And every now and then we'll have the veggies I mentioned, or we'll have raw cabbage and carrot salad. But mostly it's just the meat. So I just kind of wanted to give a real quick summary of the foods that I think that we should avoid. Again, seed oils, sugar, and sugar comes to you in so many ways. Primarily processed foods, fruit drinks, and try to get those grains, try to get those out of your diet and replace them with other whole foods, whether you go meat heavy, whether you go vegetable heavy, just eat whole foods. So thanks again for watching. Please, if you haven't, please subscribe. It's a brand new channel, and I want to improve on my videos. Just a beginner. So if you subscribe, it kind of shows me that maybe somebody's watching, or at least leave me a like, maybe a comment. I'd love to hear how other people are eating, what they think about what I'm stating. Do they think I'm doing well, or do they think I'm just